Have you ever been told to have a piece of fruit whenever you have a sugar craving? Yeah, I don't really think that works. I remember back when I was 40 pounds overweight, I had the most intense sugar cravings. Like, I really couldn't focus on anything until I got my fix. And I remember being told by a nutritionist to honor my cravings and to have just a little bit of a cookie when I wanted to. Because, the whole concept is that you should have everything in moderation, right? But I was really too embarrassed to tell her that I couldn't just have a little bit. It was either none or like 12 in one sitting. So, this is going to be a 4-part sugar series, and I'm going to walk you through how to overcome feeling out of control without driving yourself crazy trying to quit sugar cold turkey. So, here's what you can expect from the series. So, in this one, we're going to be talking about the 5 reasons why you crave sugar in the first place. The second one's going to be on 5 misconceptions on the best way to beat sugar cravings. The third is on 4 easy ways to stop sugar cravings, even if you think you're an addict. And the last thing is going to be a free downloadable guide called the Dessert Revamp. And this is going to help you have desserts that you love while simultaneously overcoming sugar cravings. So make sure that you grab that on the site. So before you can start understanding how to stop sugar cravings, you're going to need to understand how they originated in the first place. So use these 5 reasons as a way to start proactively making changes so that you can get through your day without feeling the need to stuff donuts and cookies in your face. All right, so the first one is you might have an imbalance of gut bacteria. And that might sound kind of freaky, but your digestive system naturally has a bunch of bacteria. And when I say a bunch, I mean like trillions. So there's a lot of bacteria in there, and it helps you digest your foods. But if you have an imbalance of bacteria, meaning you have too many bad bacteria compared to good bacteria, it means 2 things. One is that your body's going to have trouble digesting foods, and the other is that it's also going to make you crave sweets because all of those bad bacteria overgrowth is what is craving sweets in the first place. So I'm talking about the kind of cravings that are so ravenous that you're embarrassed to admit how many sweets you actually ate. So you knew it was bad for you, but you feel like this force overtakes your body and you can't help yourself. Kind of like in that movie, The Exorcist, where the girl gets possessed by the devil. That's kind of the feeling that you get. Like, you're not supposed to be doing it, but for some reason, you just don't really seem to have any control over yourself. That's usually some type of indication of an imbalance in your gut bacteria. Okay, so the second one is on sleep deprivation. So you might be sleep deprived. And make sure you don't skip through this because this is a really important one. But if you're not getting a good amount of sleep on a regular basis, it's going to be messing up your body chemistry. And when that happens, your cravings are all over the place. So you wake up feeling really groggy. The first thing you crave is caffeine and sugar. And then you're going to be ravenous by the time it gets to lunch and going to have a sweet snack and caffeine in the afternoon. Does that sound familiar? So sometimes it feels like all of the responsibilities you have in your life are more important than getting rest. But actually, you can't really do anything to your best ability, and your body can't really digest anything very well either when you're sleep deprived. So start prioritizing your sleep, and your cravings will start to balance themselves out. And I'm really serious about that. Going to bed on time is the easiest thing to do. And I'm always surprised that a lot of women who are trying to lose weight, they tend to prioritize things like working really hard at the gym for an hour or really trying to cut down on their diet and the foods that they've been eating. But it's so much easier to just try to get yourself to go to sleep maybe 30 minutes to an hour earlier than you usually do. That's actually going to have a much bigger impact on your health than everything else that you're trying to do. Okay, so the third reason is that you're stressed out. So again, anything that causes your body chemistry to be out of balance is going to affect your cravings. And you probably already know that stress affects your eating habits, but I'm always confused why people try to look up diets to lose weight when they know that their habits are triggered by stress. So if you want to be free of your cravings, then honing in on the source of your stress and changing that is going to be the best long-term way of overcoming cravings. So if I give you an example for this, let's say that your boss is driving you crazy, and every time at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he comes over, he stresses you out, and the first thing you want to do is just stuff your face with a bunch of cookies. Well, I mean, nutritionists could tell you to just eat carrots instead for a snack, but you and I both know that that's not really going to solve the problem. What's going to solve the problem is to avoid having the stress in the first place that makes you want to have the entire bag of cookies. So this is what I'm talking about for alleviating stress. Trying to find out what the source is, or what is it that you're trying to escape from, is kind of a better way of framing that. Okay, so the fourth reason is that you're eating way too many contracting foods. So in food energetics, and if you haven't heard about food energetics before, I really recommend that you try the food energetics free training. There is a difference between foods that create expansion, and foods that create expansion would be things like sugar, fruits, and veggies, and contraction. So these are foods like proteins, for example. So many people tend to go on a high protein, low carb diet because they're trying to lose weight, but that actually creates a lot more contractive feelings in your body. And the more contractive foods that you have, the more you're going to want to have something to relax you. And those are usually sugars. So you want to ask yourself, are you eating too many things like too many heavy animal protein? Because if you are, then you're more likely to crave something like sweets right after you have those kind of foods. All right, and the last one is that you've been having too many salty foods. So let's face it, the more salty foods you have, the more sweet foods you're going to want to have afterwards to change up the taste that's in your mouth. So it's kind of like having salty popcorn with a sweet soda, or a meatball and cheese sub followed by a fruit juice. So sweet and salty go really well together. So the less salty stuff that you have, the less sweet stuff you're going to wind up craving afterwards to kind of balance out those flavors in your mouth. Okay, so that's it for the first one of this series. And what I want you to do is go ahead to the next part, which is on 5 misconceptions on the best way to beat sugar.